Sometimes the best way to really get the big picture is to zoom in on just a single moment. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore just one day on our planet, January 10th, 2026, to see what a 24-hour snapshot can tell us about the massive forces shaping our world. So the big question is this. In just 24 hours, what can we really learn about the global currents of conflict, of progress, and just daily life? The answers, as you're about to see, reveal a world that's moving way faster and is way more connected than you might think. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the high-stakes chess match of global power plays. Then we'll pivot to see how a nation like India is writing its next chapter. From there, we'll jump to the incredible frontiers of science, check the economic outlook, and then ground it all in the everyday stories that make up a day in the life. First up, global power plays. On this day, January 10th, the headlines are just full of escalating tensions and some really bold, assertive moves that show exactly how the major powers are trying to position themselves on the world stage. And we start with this incredibly direct quote from U.S. President Donald Trump talking to oil executives about Greenland. Wow. I mean, the statement just perfectly captures that assertive, almost unilateral tone in U.S. foreign policy, framing big geopolitical moves as basically a necessity to block rivals. And here's the thing, these aren't just words. They're being backed by some incredibly swift and decisive action. Just look at the last week. There's been this dramatic escalation of U.S. intervention in Venezuela, and it all culminates today with the seizure of an oil tanker right at sea. The message could not be clearer. The U.S. isn't just talking, it's acting. So the crucial takeaway here is that these actions are not happening in a vacuum, not at all. They are a direct application of the U.S. national security strategy, and specifically, it's called to reassert the Monroe Doctrine. The goal is absolutely unambiguous. Push back hard against the influence of Russia and China in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, now let's switch gears completely. We're going to go from that external power projection to a totally different kind of national ambition. We're turning to India, a nation that is just intensely focused on building its future from the inside out through massive development and technological progress. And if you want a perfect example of this focus, look no further than today's announcement about the 2027 national census. This is going to be India's first ever fully digital census. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a huge leap forward. Imagine the sheer scale of moving from paper to mobile apps and online self-reporting for over 1 billion people. It's a monumental undertaking. This push for modernization is also transforming the country's physical backbone. I mean, you can literally see it on the tracks. Indian Railways, one of the biggest rail networks on the planet, has now electrified an incredible 99.2% of its broad gauge lines. That is a massive step towards cleaner, more efficient travel. And this progress is just happening right across the board. The news today covers everything from pioneering green transport with a new hydrogen train, to beefing up national security with a new surveillance satellite, to strengthening its military with a super advanced and mostly locally made air defense system. It's a really clear story of growing self-reliance and innovation. All right, let's shift scales dramatically now, from the ambitions of entire nations to the very fabric of the universe itself. We're diving into the frontiers of science, where today's discoveries span from the truly cosmic all the way down to the invisibly microscopic. So get this, India's Aditya L1 solar mission is already sending back some mind-blowing data. A study that just came out today shows how a recent solar storm literally squeezed Earth's magnetic shield, pushing it so close that some of our geostationary satellites were temporarily left completely exposed to the harsh realities of space weather. Okay, now for a scientific puzzle that has been baffling people for centuries. I mean, even Aristotle wrote about this one. Why can hot water sometimes freeze faster than cold water? It's called the Mpemba effect. And today, researchers announced they have finally solved this super long-standing paradox. And they did it using powerful supercomputer simulations. Pretty cool, huh? And bringing our focus all the way down to the cellular level, we find some new research with potentially profound implications for our health. A study on mice, published today, found that younger blood seems to offer some protection against the kind of brain changes you see in Alzheimer's disease. This is opening up a really fascinating new avenue for research. All right, from the breakthroughs that could shape our future to the markets that are trying to price it all in, let's turn to the economic outlook. What are the big financial forecasts for the year ahead? Well, the mood on Wall Street today is pretty optimistic. The investment bank Goldman Sachs just released its big forecast, and they're projecting another strong year for U.S. stocks. They actually expect the S&P 500 to deliver a total return of 12%. That suggests a lot of confidence in the economy, even with all the global uncertainties. But, that optimism comes with a heavy dose of caution. Analysts see this really delicate balancing act. On one side of the scale, you've got strong economic growth, the ongoing AI boom, and the hope of interest rate cuts. But on the other side, stocks are, historically speaking, pretty expensive, and the market is more concentrated in just a few giant tech companies than ever before, which creates its own set of unique risks. Okay, for our final section, let's bring these huge global themes right back down to earth. We're going to look at the smaller, everyday stories that make up a day in the life for people all around the world. And man, in Australia, January 10th is a day of absolute weather extremes. Communities are battling a trifecta of natural threats all at the same time. You've got a cyclone bearing down on Queensland, devastating bushfires raging in Victoria, and a dangerous heatwave gripping New South Wales. And elsewhere, the day brings the simple thrill of competition. In the world of sports, fans of the Women's Premier League in India are celebrating tonight as the defending champs, the Mumbai Indians, just locked in a commanding 50-run victory over the Delhi Capitals. So, when we step back and look at our 24-hour snapshot, what do we really see? We see a world of intense geopolitical maneuvering and powerful national ambition. We see breathtaking scientific discovery and cautious economic optimism, and it's all playing out against this timeless backdrop of extreme weather and the simple thrill of sport. And that leaves us with one final and really crucial question. We've seen assertive power, rapid innovation, and complex global risks all accelerating at the same time. These forces aren't just moving in parallel. You get the sense they're on a collision course. So the real question is, how will their interactions shape the story, not just of tomorrow, but of the decades to come?